Welcome everyone to episode 124 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pentolaresco. I write stuff and podcast too. And today my guest is none other than Gerald Brandt. Gerald, I've known him, I should say we've chatted casually off and on for like 2 years. And I finally got to know him a little bit better last year. And when he came in, I offered him, could you come on my show? And he was very gracious enough to do so. I think the biggest surprise I had about Gerald was how, I say this without anything, he was shyer than I expected. And not in a bad way, just he's a quiet guy, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. Gerald is the author of the Courier, and, basically, he was one of the what many people call the fortunate few that is currently working with Daw Books. And as you listen to this podcast, there's nothing wrong with that. As of this moment, before we get started on the show, I am currently going through the Proof of the Wandering God for the last time. I'm going to be honest, I wish I had a little bit more time on this book, but it is what it is. I would probably, I think it's a little bloated. I'm being honest, I think it's a little bloated, but it's still really good. It's a nice conclusion to a series, and this is my first one. Big learning lesson with that. So I'm going to go off and finish that off, but it's coming really soon, October 17th. I know it just sounds like I'm really downplaying it with saying what I'm saying, but as I've gone farther in this writing thing, I'm more unsatisfied with my work every time. So maybe I'm just being overly, hyperly critical. But I know enough now to know what I could do better. And that's, I think that might be it more than anything else. So look for The Wandering God, October 17th. All right, on to the conversation. Okay. So this recorder is on, so anything incriminating you want to say,
all right,
it will automatically just be on the recorder at this point. So,
perfect. I hate this person. I hate that.
Listen, if you're gonna admit your crimes, admit the really good ones. That's how I look. That's how you look at it. So how are you this morning?
This morning, I'm actually awake, which is good.
So what are you doing today? Like, what did your schedule? You do any panels or presentations?
I have one panel today. I took a really light panel load. This convention, I usually do about 3 to 5, I guess. But today's just the one. I'm going to work in the dealer's room. I had a short story published by Bundoran Press.
Awesome.
A few years ago. So every convention that I'm at with them, I just do an hour at their table as a thank you.
That's actually really decent. So I have a similar philosophy when it comes to thank yous. So again, this is just me. When I made the decision to be a writer at a very young age, and I needed, and a lot of my teachers helped me in various ways. So when I got my first book published, I made it a point to find every single one of those teachers.
Yeah.
Gave them a copy as a book as a thank you.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's no one actually has to help you. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah. Right. And anybody that goes out of their way to do so, they're not. Again, it's not about like expectations or anything like that. They're just helping you. And so I figure, if I thank them, if I help people, maybe they'll thank me down the road. It's like kind of like paying it forward.
Yeah, I'm a huge believer in paying it forward.
Yeah.
Right? When I first started writing, I got lucky, and Robert J. Sawyer was at many of the same conventions I went to, and that man is so exceedingly helpful to new writers,
yes,
offering advice, whether it's business or technique or whatever, and he's just so helpful that. So he taught me to pay it forward, really.
Well, yeah, it's also just good business in the long run too.
Yeah.
You never know where anybody can go, so it's a really smart way of doing it. So you're with Daw. So did you just do it like a random submission?
The Aurora Awards were in Winnipeg. I can't remember the year now.
Yeah.
But so we had a whole bunch of authors, and of course if one of Sheila Gilbert's authors are up for an award, she comes out if it's at all possible to be at the award ceremony, just in case, right? So she came out, and unbeknownst to her, the con chairs or whatever said, "Oh, you're going to be taking a pitch session." And they sprung it on her with like 5 minutes notice. She had no clue. She didn't think she was going to do anything except just talk to her authors, right? So she ended up doing a pitch session in Winnipeg, and it was an awkward pitch session because there was 40 of us.
Oh, God.
And we were all in the same room. So we're sitting across from Sheila Gilbert, and behind us are 39 other authors listening to us do our pitch.
That's crazy.
It was horrible. Just
yeah.
horrible. Yeah. So I'm not the most outgoing person. I'm fairly shy, and I get up there, and I just finally stutter out. I say, I'm sorry, I can't do my pitch. It's just gone. And she says, well, do you have it written down? I said, yeah, it's right here. She says, oh, thank God. And she took it from me and read it and asked for the full. So I think she actually asked for the full manuscript from, I'd say, 90% of the people there. She's a very nice person, right? So it worked out well. Everybody I know that pitched that same day got rejections within about 3 to 4 months.
Yep.
And she said she would get back to all of us in 3 months. So I waited the 3 months and nothing. So I waited 4 months, nothing. At the 6-month mark, I said, I'm going to send her a quick email just to see what happened. Because all my friends already had their rejection, so I'm waiting for my rejection. And I contact her by email, and she says, oh, no, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. She says, contact me in 2 weeks. That went on for 4 years. So, and it varied, right? It was oh, contact me next week, I'll read it. No, I'm really busy, contact me in 4 weeks. But it was always, so we had this email thing going, and I go to World Fantasy every year, and of course she's always there, so we'd meet up for coffee, and her house was under construction and under renovations, and her cats didn't like it, so eventually the emails turned into, how are your cats? Are they handling the construction okay? And I'd come back and say, no, not yet. They're kind of hiding in the basement or whatever, and we just stopped talking about my book in the emails.
That probably worked for you, actually.
I think it did.
Yeah, because at that point you start treating her like a person.
Exactly.
And the moment you did that, so I had a chance to work for a guy by the name of James Aowen. He did a series, he was Derby Dragons for Simon & Schuster, but I knew him back in the day when he did comics, and it changed my whole perspective on people that have accomplished something, because it's not. You're still a human being at the end of the day. And yeah, it's really cool that you do amazing things, but if people just come to you with the things all the time, right? You get tired of it, not because you're not. It's not like you're not proud of what you did, but you're a lot more than that particular work at that particular place at that particular time.
Right. Yeah.
Now, consequently, now I also kind of feel like a tool. If I get to know you, asking for an autograph feels lame.
Awkward,
It's like, Ed, can I have your autograph? But I know you. This feels awkward. I played Grand Theft Auto with you. I don't know. And that literally, that's what happens. You get in a good enough relationship with some of these people. You get past the point where you go for autographs really do feel awkward at that point in time.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And also use anything else. Even business becomes a little awkward. But also though, it's quicker because you can just approach them like people.
Exactly.
You probably go, hey Sheila, what's going on? You need to ask her about her cats or with her house or problems, and at some point you just go casually. So what's going on? Is it, what's going on? And then she'll just say, yeah, this is kind of what I'm doing. This is where I'm at, and those are the best relationships I have.
And Daw is really about family. They don't, they'll bring in an author, and the first thing they'll do is introduce you to all their other authors, and there'll be dinners, and they're really about creating more of a family feeling than a business feeling, which really works for me. Really works.
I've always admired Daw just in the fact that they are very conscious of who they are.
Yeah.
And they do that very, very well. And like I said, they're not the biggest house, but I don't think they're suffering either. It's just one of those things where they do their thing. Yeah. They're really good at it. People know who they are, and
they're still one of the big five, right?
Yeah.
Right, and they so they're tied in with Penguin Random House, and Penguin does all of their distribution for them and does all of their publicity for them, tied back into the Daw, of course.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, it's a perfect place to be.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah. And so you've done what, 3? You're on your third book?
The third book is coming out in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, November 14th.
Yeah. So how's that feel to finish the trilogy? Does it feel like a relief? Does it feel like?
Yeah, it's mixed.
Yeah.
It really is mixed, right? It's thank goodness I don't have to write about Chris anymore. And then the next day it's kind of like, but I have all these things about Chris that nobody knows.
You missed the character, I think, a little bit too. No, I just I did an epic poetry series that
magically happened like more ways than one. And I got to the end of this one, and it's like I'm done. Like I know that for my growth as a creator, and for just the fact that I've told the story I set out to tell, I have to do it down. But it's like, it's on the other hand, it's like I'm gonna miss writing about you guys. It's at the same time, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, oh, you've been in my head for years, and it's just like, and that doesn't. I mean, that's a very different outlook than I think a lot of people have with it. Like I'm not gonna say anything about painting or a piece of music or anything like that, because some of those take years and years and years and years to write as well. But a novel or any kind of book, it's just so dense, the material you put into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a big part of your life.
It is. I got lucky. She'll ask me what was next. What was I planning next? So I pitched 9 books to her. I pitched 2 more trilogies in the same world as the ones that I already have, so I can still bring in those characters as walk-ins if I need to.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't totally lose them. So I pitched her 6 more books in the same world, and I pitched her a trilogy, fantasy trilogy. And she was happy with the pitches, so we'll see.
Well, no, it's good. I hope it really works out for you, and good luck. I have a hunch though she's gonna probably want you to do the this is just my inner gut tells me she's gonna want you to do the fantasy series, something a little different.
Yeah.
It's good for them and it's good for you.
Yeah, and I've already got the first book of the fantasy series written, so I don't have to have that big long delay to write the first book.
Yeah.
Right?
No, and it just feels like you also just, again, I don't know you that well, but I just get the feeling that you're kind of ready to try something a little different, at least in between. You might you'll go back to that role, I'm pretty sure. But
the only science fiction I've ever written are these 3 books.
Yeah.
Right. Everything else I've done before that was fantasy, and so.
So what kind of fantasy do you enjoy? Like, do you do like the epic fantasy, a la Jordan, Tolkien?
I have not read Jordan. I tried to read his first book, and it didn't click with me.
No.
So it was and so I tried again a little bit of George R. R. Martin, right, the Game of Thrones. And again, it didn't quite click with me, so I gave all my books to my kids, and they devoured them. So that's good.
That's good. So at least you got use out of them, right?
Yeah. The David B. Coe stuff, Thief Taker.
No.
Beautiful. Yeah. Robin Hobb, big fan.
Robin Hobb's amazing.
Yeah.
She writes books that are ridiculously good, and she comes out like so quick in comparison to. It's like. That is an efficient professional, and her books are literally probably, if not the very best in the genre, probably like they're up there. Like they're just.
She does very well. Yeah.
But so you got your fantasy. So you do shorts as well. So
not as much anymore. I was doing shorts at the beginning when I decided to get serious about my writing, because that was the common thing. If you get into the short story market first, get your name out there, and then start moving into the longer stuff. And I just don't like writing short stories that much.
That's fair.
But that being said, I sold my first one was a short story, and I'm now going to be in Zombie Needs Brains anthology, doing some science fiction short story for them. So
that's so you keep going. You go back from time to time. So I guess the question then for you is beyond that, industry has changed quite a bit. So from your perspective. Like I'm just curious. Like, what's the biggest surprise for you, and what?
Well, the thing is that if I would have continued my writing in the '80s when I was getting serious about it the first time, before I met my first computer, what might have been a mistake, but from the '80s to now, there's been massive changes. But I've only been a professional writer now for, what is it? I got my first contract in 2017, so 2015.
Oh, wow.
Right, so it hasn't been that long. Daw made their offer in 2015, and the first book came out in 2016. Right, so there's not too many changes for me.
No,
I haven't seen them.
No, you haven't seen them.
No.
So as far as I guess the other question then would be would you do while you are with Daw or with anybody else some kind of independent project on the side at this point?
I'm gonna have to say no.
Yeah.
My goal when I decided I was gonna get serious about my writing again, my goal was to be traditionally published by one of the big ones.
Yeah.
And really, I don't think I have the skill set to do like a self-pub. I don't have the layout skills. I don't have the editing skills. I really need editors, and I got a great one. Right, I don't have the contacts to get a good cover. right? And that's what you need if you're going to go into your self-published.
No, it's fair. I mean, like I say, it's just. Like I said, I'm not gonna say fortuitous because it sounds like you. I mean, between the '80s when you first started and now, it sounds like you've been through a lot of things as well.
Well, who hasn't? Right?
Yeah,
It's a long time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you worked your way to get to where you're at, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So congrats and good luck. So, I have not read your books.
Okay.
All right. So I know we were talking last night. So I'm not. So, do you remember anything about your first book at this point?
I remember, yeah, because I have to go, because I'm writing, when I wrote the third book, I had to go back, because I didn't keep my own Bible on what was, so I have to remember, eye color, and I had to flip through the first book to figure out what the eye color was, so I got it right.
Yeah.
So it's not as upfront as it used to be, but yeah, it's still there.
Yeah. So what's your series about for people that don't know?
Okay, it's near future science fiction.
Yeah.
And the book one starts with my main character, Chris. Is 16 years old, and she's been homeless for a little while, and she finally managed to get a courier position. One of her boyfriends gave her a stolen motorcycle, and she's on this motorcycle doing deliveries. Of course there's internet or whatever their version of it is, but it's so unreliable and so hacked all the time that no sensitive information is sent, which is the reason they have motorcycle couriers. There's thousands of them, but only one might be carrying important information. The other 999 are dummies, so that nobody can, grab a courier and steal whatever information they have. But anyways, the book opens. She gets a late night delivery, needs the money desperately, so she accepts the late night delivery instead of going home. And she walks in on the client and sees him murdered. And he was murdered by one of the larger corporations. And basically, she's on the run. Right? They want her dead, they want her package, and she's just got to stay alive, doing whatever she can.
It's really cool, actually. It sounds like a lot of fun. It reminds me a little bit of like a bit of a cyberpunk kind of style story, a little bit.
Yeah, Daw sold it initially as cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of agreeing with me a little bit more. It's got some cyberpunk sensibilities, but I sell it as 80% thriller, 20% science fiction.
No, that sounds about right, because again, because you're talking about stuff like motorcycles and stuff, and this does sound like a lot of an action. It's like
very much.
Yeah,
it is go. The entire book, I think book one covers 2.5 days.
Yeah.
So it's go.
Go. Get it out, get it done, and then that sounds really cool. And then book two is obviously, I guess, the consequence of book one.
Book two takes place a year later.
Yeah.
Through all of her issues in book one,
mm-hmm.
Chris gets picked up by an anti-corporate movement and gets trained to be a courier for them. And maybe a little bit of the Black Ops kicks in as well, because she goes into some Black Ops training. So it takes place a year later after she's almost finished training, and their training camp gets attacked, and her boyfriend gets kidnapped. And so the whole second book is again, this book two I think covers 4 days. So it's go, and she's going for the rescue and trying to set life back to a good point.
Well, so the third book's like written at this point, right?
The third book's written.
At this point. So I'll ask this question: of the 3 books, assuming I won't, keep the third book out of this if you want to, because I understand it's not out yet. But what was the most surprising thing you wrote of the 3 books? Like, what scene like surprised you? Because I know when you plot something, every once in a while, like a character is going to come out of nowhere and go, "No, do this," and you're like, "I want to do that." No, do this, and the character's right. You don't want to admit it, maybe necessarily right at that moment, but the character is right.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
But I'm a plotter.
Yeah.
Right. I plot everything out, and especially when you have a book that covers 3 days, you've got to plot it out and make sure your timeline's right. So I do color-coded spreadsheets, the whole thing. So, did any one scene surprise me? No, because I knew what it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
What surprised me was perhaps the details, because I don't. When I plot out the scenes, I put in a sentence of where the scene has to start, where it's going to end, and roughly what happens in between. So the magic when I'm doing the writing is the details that kind of pop out.
Absolutely, because even when you plan something, there's still a spontaneity in that moment as to happened. And I guess what I'm asking is, during one of those, like you knew the moment was going to happen per se.
Yeah.
But was there like a scene that just really just went like, oh, that's really cool, or like, oh, I didn't think about it like that way before. If not, that's cool.
In book one, there's 2 scenes that are like that, but
Yeah.
and I don't want to give it away too much because one of the scenes is actually quite a turning point. But
Yeah.
When I first thought of the book one,
Yeah.
Chris, the protagonist, is the first thing that popped in my head, and I knew she was going to be a badass, and I knew she was going to be somebody that had to be in control of her own life. But there's one scene where she just flips and kind of her brain turns off, and she turns into this killing machine, basically, and that surprised me. I didn't expect that out of her at all.
Yeah.
Right? I expected her to I knew the scene she was going into, and I knew she had to get out of it, but I didn't think she would flip and lose it and just do what she did.
Yeah, and you're like probably like, that was really cool, and now I know, and I'll change your little paradigm what you can do with her too, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
All right, I think we have a pretty decent interview. So,
Okay.
but before we wrap it up, give a synopsis of what the 3rd book is since it's coming out. When's it coming out?
All right, it's coming out November 14th.
November 14th.
Yeah.
So give me a synopsis there and how people can find and contact you.
Okay. So book 3, synopses are tough for me
Yeah.
at any time, and once I'm on contract, I don't actually have to worry about doing a synopsis. So. But book 3 starts with Chris is in not a good place, right? Things happened in book 2 that she is just not in a good place, and she's made promises to certain people, and she's trying to fulfill those promises because it's the only thing that's kind of keeping her moving. And she actually leaves Earth in this one and goes to some of the satellite cities, which are all corporate run and all just corrupt as all hell. And she goes in there and she kicks butt. She kicks major butt. And comes out the other side a new person. So, yeah.
That sounds really badass.
Yeah. And book 1, The Courier, is actually up for an Aurora this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, okay. I guess I'll ask this question then before we wrap up. How do you view? I guess in your case, the award show actually did kind of change your life. So actually, because I mean, if it wasn't for the Aurora in Winnipeg, you wouldn't have met Sheila.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if the anthology that I had my short story in hadn't won an Aurora, I wouldn't have been read by Sheila's.
Yeah. So I guess for you, it is actually a pretty big deal to be there because you never know where that might lead you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think the other authors on the Aurora list this year are phenomenal. So I don't think I'll be walking away with an Aurora, but just to be included in the list, just what a feeling.
Yeah.
What a feeling.
As cliche as it sounds, it's truly an honor to be nominated.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, did I ever think that I would be on an awards list with Guy Kay or Rob Sawyer? I'm sorry, I'm going to get the name wrong. Alex Darn it, I'm going to get the name wrong.
Yeah.
Madeline Ashby, right? Am I going to be on that, right?
Yeah. Well, that means you wrote something really amazing, man. I can't wait to check it out. So, for people that want to actually contact you, just say hi. Your books are awesome and stuff like that.
I'm on Facebook as Gerald Brandt.
Yep.
That's more of my personal page. I have an author page as well, and that one is basically just I post when I have reviews or if I have news and stuff coming out, and I go there. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter under Gerald Brandt as well, and I have a webpage, and it's geraldbrandt.com. And that one has links to an email they can contact me at, and all the links to Facebook and everything.
Awesome. Give me one quick second here.
And that will do it for another episode of Just Josh. I want to thank Gerald very much for being part of the show. The Courier, which is his first book in the series, is out now. You can get it if you've been with the series. The 3rd book comes out this November. Check it out, courtesy of Daw Books. Thanks, Gerald, very much. Going into the subject of taking care of oneself better. My teeth's not really a surprise to anybody who's been listening to the show, but other things are happening too. I am experiencing just body. I'm getting older and some changes in my body, so I gotta take care of some things if I want to keep some things, and I've been slowly starting to do that. So, like tonight, for example, I made a shampoo using nettle, turmeric, baking soda, apple cider vinegar, rosemary, and coconut oil. So that, I'm sure if my dad's listening to this, make him proud. I'm going to be making more and more of an effort in the days, weeks, months to come to take care of myself on some things I need to take care of myself with. Um, yeah, like I said, sometimes I'm not going to excuse anything. The truth of the matter is, it's easy to forget yourself doing things until you realize the damage you're doing to yourself. And the excuse is you don't have time. And it's valid. Like, time is such a. Time is very easy to lose track of. Like, this has taken me a lot longer to get to making this shampoo than I thought it would, for example. But here I am, and here's what we do. But it's done, and I needed to do it. And while I'm doing the podcast, I figured I'd do that. So I'm going to be, going out of my way to, like I said, just take care of things for the next few months. And I think, and there's one thing I hope everybody's doing is they're doing the same thing themselves. It needs to be done. And you got to go out of your way to go the extra mile to make those things happen. And that will do it for another episode. You can do a couple things. You can subscribe to the podcast a few different ways, either through Podomatic or through iTunes. You can order my books. The Wandering God is becoming available via MirrorWorldPublishing.com or Amazon. You can pre-order it now. You can review my books, The Watcher and Storm Dancer, which are already out. Be nice, or if not, don't tell anybody. I'll understand. You can sign up for my newsletter at tinyletter.com/jpantelleresco. I'll be getting back to it in October, I promise. Beyond all that, stay inspired out there. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And I'll see you guys next time on Just Joshing.
Josh. Shush.